Jennifer, we can go ahead and begin. We want to let meeting attendees know that we will be offering interpretation in English and Spanish during tonight's meeting. For those presenting today, you can help by speaking at a moderate pace, loudly and clearly. If the interpretation is not working or you're having other technical difficulties, please let us know in the chat so our team can help you. In a moment, the Zoom interpretation feature will be turned on and you'll see a globe in the lower part of your screen with a message about language interpretation. Click on the globe and select the language in which you'd like to participate and listen during this meeting. If you're joining through a smartphone or tablet, you can click on the three dots on the bottom right corner of your screen, select language interpretation, and then choose your language. Make sure to click done and you'll all be set.
Queremos dejarles saber que vamos a estar ofreciendo interpretación en inglés y español durante la reunión del día de hoy. Para las personas que sean presentadores el día de hoy, nos pueden ayudar hablando a un paso moderado, con voz alta y clara. Si la interpretación no está funcionando o tienen alguna dificultad técnica, por favor, háganoslo saber en el chat para que podamos asistirles. En un momento más, se va a activar la función de interpretación por Zoom y van a ver un globo terráqueo en la parte inferior de su pantalla con un mensaje acerca de la interpretación de idiomas. Le va a dar clic en el globo terráqueo y va a seleccionar el idioma en el que quiere participar y escuchar durante esta reunión. Si nos acompaña desde su celular o tablet, le va a dar clic en los tres puntitos blancos en la parte inferior derecha de su pantalla. Va a seleccionar interpretación de idiomas y entonces va a poder seleccionar su idioma. Asegúrese de darle clic en la parte donde dice finalizado o done y van a estar listos.
Thank you.
So we'll give people a couple minutes to do that if they need to. And while we're giving that a minute or so, I know a lot of us are working in the same communities together. If you would like to share your contact information and maybe just write out what neighborhood you're representing tonight, then you guys might have a great opportunity to network later or find some common projects to work on.
May I say something, Jennifer?
Of course, sir.
Good evening. First of all, it's Bishop Rush. I saw the little, I'm on my iPhone and I tapped the little thing at the bottom right, but it disappeared. I don't see anything anymore.
I see the interpreters still speaking. Lilia, do you want to be on the, let us confirm in English if it's working or not? She has a thumbs up.
So Bishop Rush, you're trying to participate.
Yes, mine is too. If you didn't click it right away, it pops back down. So if you click the more button with the three dots, it might come up in the more section. But if you're already listening in English, you can just, no action is needed. If you need to listen in Spanish, it might be under the more section with the three dots. You click that, there should be an interpretation button that pops up. Or maybe there's an EN at the bottom of your screen. You click that as well, and then the little menu pops up.
I'm listening in English. I guess that's fair enough, good enough.
Okay, let us know, and we can also help in the chat as well if anyone needs further assistance. Again, it's in that more button, or if it says EN at the bottom of your menu, you know, in your smartphone, it should be able to, you got to explore your menu a bit. So try to get your menu to pop up and you can try to work on it. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions there? Wonderful. Then we will get cracking. So tonight's agenda, we're going to do an introduction to the partners that are on the line with us. I should say some of the partners because you guys are partners too. We're going to do an overview of goals, our How to Advocate lesson, a little role-playing demonstration, and then some next steps for our next meeting. So just so you guys know, this is just the first in really what's going to end up being a 3-part series. But this session and then next Thursday's session are going to be hosted by or facilitated by Mi Familia Vota. And they're going to be about specifically just general advocacy. So one of our partners is Healthy Outdoor Communities, and really this whole thing is hosted by Healthy Outdoor Communities, which consists of many partners, including some of you who have been participating in the Healthy Outdoor Communities meetings that we have regularly. So our mission is to support good health and well-being in children, youth, and families of historically undervalued communities by utilizing free, safe, and easily accessible neighborhood parks and green spaces. And you can see our website at the bottom there. Then we have Nature and Eclectic Outdoors, of course. Our mission is to help people of all ages and backgrounds lead more outdoor-oriented lives for better health, well-being, and resilience. And then, of course, Houston Parks Board, whose mission is to create, improve, protect, and advocate for parks for everyone. You guys may be seeing a theme here between all the partners. Now, this training is made possible really by support from the HOG Foundation for Mental Health, who has provided funding for this training through their Communities of Care initiative. This is a wonderful training series that they are really in favor of supporting just on their own policy level. And we're very excited to be a part of it and be able to host this for you. And then we have Mi Familia Vota on the line. So Mi Familia Vota was recommended to us highly by the Prevention Institute. And if you have participated in Healthy Outdoor Communities community meetings, you have heard us talk about Prevention Institute. You've even seen them on the call helping us to facilitate certain discussions. So when they recommended Mi Familia Vota, we were super excited to reach out to them and get them on board as our facilitators for this training. And so Angel Vega is the primary Mi Familia Vota representative who's going to be facilitating tonight. Angel, do you want to tell us a little bit more about Mi Familia Vota before we move on?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jennifer. Well, my name is Angel Vega. I am the Texas Field Director for Mi Familia Vota here in Texas. We are a no-profit organization, national civic engagement. We have we are located in 7 different states. And our principal mission is to promote social and economic justice. And we truly believe that the way to do that is by voting registration, voting outreach, voting participation, and also do citizenship worship. Here in Texas, we have 2 offices. We have one that is in Dallas and this one in Houston. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Angel. And I apologize. I should have asked you this before. I've always called you Angel. Is it Angel or Angel?
Angel Luis Vega.
Okay, I'm so sorry. You should have corrected me.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. Thank you.
I also want to apologize to the interpreters. This is the first time we've been able to offer this Spanish interpretation, and we hope we're able to do this in all of our future training opportunities. So I need to speak a little slower and maybe pause every once in a while to make it a little bit easier on our interpreters. So interpreters, if I start talking too quickly, please just point it out to somebody in the chat and they'll tell me to slow down. Thank you. So before we begin, we have a fun Zoom poll that Lisa is going to lead us on.
Yes, and I am launching poll question 1 now, so that should pop up on everyone's screen. Jennifer, you might want, I see we actually have a person who's joined by phone. So maybe you want to read out the questions and the answers and talk people through the reason why we pose the question for the next minute while we leave the question open. I think that would be nice.
Absolutely. So question one of this two-part is, have you ever been a part of an advocacy meeting with an elected official or governmental agency?
And the
And of course, oh, go ahead. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
the captions are, of course, yes, no, or not sure. I'm just being cognizant of the person on the phone.
Thank you so much. The yes, no, or not sure. And of course, we're just kind of trying to get a base level of how involved everybody on the call has been in official advocacy.
And so we usually leave polls open for a minute, so I'm going to close it. And then I always share the results on the screen for transparency. So Jennifer, more people than not have met with elected officials.
Very nice.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right.
So I'm going to go then to the next question and launch that. And then again, it also just a quick note while that's being launched, if it doesn't pop up on your screen, you can also type your own answer in the chat. So go ahead, Jennifer.
So the second question is, how comfortable do you feel speaking with elected officials or governmental agencies about your concerns? And the possible answers are very comfortable, somewhat comfortable, neutral, somewhat uncomfortable, or very uncomfortable. So again, if you're having an issue with the poll, you can put your answer in the chat if you prefer.
I think my slide number is off for the question, but it still works. All right, so it's almost 1 minute. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share the results. Looks like most people are very comfortable, and we hope that's a two-way street. We hope those receiving the meeting are also comfortable with listening to the community.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to share, Jennifer? If not, I'll stop sharing the poll.
Nope, I think we're good. So we have two sets of goals. The goals that I'm going to share with you now are our community advocacy training goals, the goals for what we're doing tonight. And then we have another set of goals that I'll talk to you about in just a second. So our goals for tonight are to learn how to effectively engage with elected officials and government agencies. And that includes city council members, parks departments, and not just necessarily city agencies and departments. We could be talking about county, regional, that sort of thing. We want to be prepared to best achieve our goals at the upcoming communities and parks convening. That is extremely important. And that will be coming up this summer. We will give you guys updates on that as we like firm up the dates and the plan for that communities and parks convening. And then we want you to be more comfortable identifying and advocate for other community priorities. So we're really focused on like the green priorities, the park equity, green space, nature, that sort of thing. But you should be able to take things you learn from this training and apply them toward other advocacy priorities for the community. So those are our goals for tonight. Now, the goals I'm going to go over with you now are goals that community members identified that they want to achieve or at least begin to work on during our upcoming communities and parks convening. And these goals are establish recurring community meetings with HPARD. HPARD is Houston Parks and Recreation Department. Maybe those meetings could be similar to HGAC, Parks and Natural Areas meetings, and that's the Houston Galveston Area Council. We also want to get updated Friends of guidelines from HPARD. We want to get strong participation from all county commissioners in issues and events regarding parks and outdoor spaces. So if you guys have been out in parks and outdoor spaces during community events, There are areas where we know we're always going to see a county commissioner or somebody from their office. And then there are other areas of Houston where maybe we don't see the person in that position as much. We want to establish a clear chain of communication between community members and city and county agencies. We also want to develop an easier and more affordable HPARD permitting process for community members and civic clubs. We want HPARD to explain budgeting and park improvements processes for greater community understanding. That's something that, you know, including myself, and I'm in this realm, I really don't understand entirely how the budgeting and improvements process works. And then we want to ask how the community can help HPARD and other agencies. So we're asking things of them. Maybe they have some asks of us that would make things run smoother between the community and their agencies. So if there aren't any questions about that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Angel to walk us through our training tonight.
Yes, the first from our team that is going to take care of this part is going to be Pam. So Pam, if you can introduce yourself, please, and just go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pam Gallardo. I am the youth organizer with Mi Familia Vota. And just a little bit of background, since we are going to talk about how to advocate, I actually started as a participant myself, sharing my story and going to Washington, D.C. with Mi Familia Vota last year to advocate on DACA and its standing. And then I went from that to facilitator, and I was able to facilitate and help other voices be heard and guide them through this advocate process for them for the Texas legislation session. And now I am their organizer, so I'm just here to hopefully help you guys share a little bit of experience that I've gained by doing it. All right, can we go to the next slide, please? All right, so we need some steps for a successful advocacy visit. So first of all, we do need to find out who is the person you want to meet with, whether it's an elected official, an agency, a department official. This is going to depend on what the issue is and if the issue has to be addressed from a local point, from a state level, or a federal level. So once you find out who it is you need to meet with or who do you want to speak with that can help you address this issue, then you want to move on to identifying what the focus of your conversation and what it is exactly that you want to tell them or bring up. And also the priority of this. Is it something that you wanted to be addressed immediately that's, you know, it's important, or is it something that you can kind of start bringing up now and just keep that momentum going? Okay, so once you find out who it is you need to talk to and you know what it is the issue that you want to talk about, you do want to start preparing before you visit. So you do want to do research on whoever the person or agency you're going to talk to see do they stand in certain committees that are going to help you, and do they have connections to people you might want to reach out to next. You also want to collect research in the sense of maybe get some data, some numbers to back up a lot of like your statements. So it's not just you going in there like, I just feel this way, but I have data, I have studies to back up what I'm telling you. And also stories. Stories are very important because you're sharing how it's affecting you, how it's affecting your community. And stories are also helpful for those in charge, whether they're elected or agencies, because they can use those stories whenever they go on the floor and they try to either vote for or against a certain bill or introduce something. They do tend to use bits of those stories. So that's also why stories are very important. And then also it's important to know who's going to go with you to that visit. You know, that way you know what can they bring to the conversation as well, and how can you guide them during that conversation if it's their first time, or a lot of people feel intimidated because it is official people that you think are on different levels, but at the end of the day, they do represent you as well. And then lastly, on the prepping area, would just create an informal agenda, make a little plan of how do you plan your visits to go, how do you want to start your conversations once you're already inside, either with the staff or with the member if they're available. Just kind of have an outline of, I want to introduce myself, I want to thank them for their time, and then from there go on, like, this is the issue I'm bringing up, or maybe it's a bill that's currently it's in session, or maybe you want to bring that up. And then, do you want to start with certain people speaking first, or, just kind of create that plan beforehand. So when you go in there, you kind of know how to execute it and you're not all over the place. And then lastly, you're just going to conduct your visit. Like I said, you're going to meet with them and thank them for their time. And just, I feel like once you do your visit, you're going to feel a little bit more relaxed once you realize it's not very like hearted, it's more like a conversation. Like they're going to listen to you, you're going to listen to them. If you have any questions, any concerns, are very open to answering those questions. If you have any questions of maybe how a bill gets passed, or what is the standing of a certain bill or a certain subject, they most likely will answer those questions for you. And at the end of the day, they do represent you, so your voices matter to them as well.
Thank you very much, ma'am. In this part, I want you guys to verify who is your representative. I think that, let me see. I think that Lisa, if you can, I add in the notes a particular address. If you can just go and click there and show the address, please, so we can. Or I can do, I don't have access to do it.
Bear with me for just a second. I am going to allow you to share. Is that okay?
Perfect. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, I was trying to, sorry. I gave sharing to Jennifer right now, so I was trying to figure it out to get it back. I think I have to allow people to share simultaneously first. Yep, but it's already on. Yes.
Okay, and I'll turn mine off then.
I can't get out if you don't move.
Dr. Ann, we're just going to remind you to remain on mute during the meeting. Thank you.
Angel, are you able to share?
Let me see. Sure. Yeah,
I'm not moving.
Okay. Okay, let's do it. Share the screen. Yes. So I am here. This one in particular that I am sharing right now is the one that is for the state level. So here, let me just copy the information. Give me one moment. Okay, I have it here. You guys can see this, right? The representative and the map. Okay, perfect. So what I mentioned at the state level is that you guys can have access to see the federal representative, the two senators, Shayla, that is our congresswoman, the state representative and the state senator, and the education. Now, if you want to do the same thing for the local level, you can go directly to your county or city. I have another example here that I want to share. And I'm going to share as well with in the chat, because you guys can go directly. For example, if you guys want to go to the council and see the City of Houston Council, you can do the same. Let me see if I can just change it. Excellent, here. Okay. Now, for example, this is how it looks Houston City Council. You can add your information below in this area, and you can in particular see, okay, this is my representative, this is my district, and you can do the same. Now, when we can do the same thing for Harris County. I don't have the website right now, but we can just go, for example, to Harris County, who is my representative in Harris County, and provide the same information. And the good thing is that in the city, you're going to see all the representatives that are at large, plus the representatives that are by letter. But you're going to have access to them and to your particular representative. Okay. Any question? So I'm gonna give you back the access. Okay, we can start with the presentation again, please.
All righty.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Let's go to the next one, please. Okay, so now we have some notes here about advocacy meetings. The first one is that 90% of the time they're going to give you 30 minutes, right? So they're going to tell you, okay, you have 30 minutes, but probably they're going to give you just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. As Pam shared before, let's have an agenda for the whole 30 minutes. So if you're meeting with 5 people, assign her 3 minutes to each one so they can feel prepared. So what I want to recommend all of you is to assign a leader for that particular meeting so that person can lead the conversation. Remember, you are meeting with the state representative or state legislature or a council person. So in the end, they are not leading the conversation. You are the person that's leading the conversation. You are the person that are visiting there and going to request an advocate for something in particular. So be prepared for the whole 30 minutes. The next that we have here is you may not always get to meet with the actual elected official. Well, that depends. Sometimes elected officials are in the field, are within another meeting, are in sessions. So it is the same. It is very important if you have the opportunity to meet with elected officials or not, you be prepared. Now, sometimes you're going to meet with their staff. You can meet with the district director, with the chief of staff, with any particular aide. So it is very important as well that if you have the opportunity to meet with any particular staff, you treat that person in the same way, because this person is very influential or have a lot of influence over that particular member. So it's going to communicate that issue or a specific what you are advocating for. The third thing that we have here is expect the elected officials who are considered friendly to ask difficult questions. The majority of the time, the follow-up conversations came from the friendly members. Why? Because they want to know more about your story. They want to know more about your data. They want to probably share that in the floor, or they want to use your information or your story to try to talk, in the floor or with their colleagues in order to share that particular information. If you want to, let's go to the next one, please. Here we have, if you don't have, you do not have to answer any question that you do not know. Now, if you don't feel comfortable, let's say that you share your story, but you don't have the details and they want to follow up with you with any particular name, story. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. Just mention that you can follow up with them and provide more information or more data. The same happened with numbers. If you're sharing that 20% of the people in our community are suffering for A, B, and C, and they have a follow-up conversation, let's say that they mention, oh, well, maybe it's 18%. Well, if you don't remember the specific information, just don't say it, okay? And follow up with them. The next thing that we have here is research the person you're meeting with. Now, it is important to know if that person believes in the same issues or the same proposals that you are presenting. But and this is my suggestion, even if you are from one side, one party, or on another party, you need to use the hat that you're advocating for a particular issue. So you need to book, or you need to look for liaisons, independently if they're friendly or not, okay? It is very, very, very important that if you want to achieve change at the state level with the council people, if they have party affiliation or not, it is important that when you go to that particular meeting, you're looking for friendly people, or you're looking for people that you can establish a connection and transmit that sense of urgency, okay? The next that we have here is take a picture. The people love pictures, and ask for contact information. Now, the contact information in this particular case is probably to follow up. And our suggestion here is to send a thank you notes, a thank you email saying, okay, thank you very much, senators, thank you very much, councilwoman, for meeting with us. Remember that we're here to advocating in A, B, and C, okay? Let's go to the next one, please. Now we're gonna pass it to Pam.
All right, so this is just gonna be a little role play, so you kind of have an idea of what this conversation may look like or how you can initiate it. All right, so Angel Luis is gonna be the commissioner, and I'm gonna be, you know, the participant in this example. Okay, so you're obviously kind of going, all right. So it's gonna be, hello, County Commissioner Garcia. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. My name is Pam Gallardo. I am a community leader, youth organizer that resides in your county precinct in Harris community. Today, I would like to discuss ensuring equitable access to parks in my community.
Yeah, thank you, Pam. I don't have too much time, but if you have something that you can share very quickly, or if you have any document or any flyer or something that you can share with me, your priorities, that would be great, so I can take a look.
Oh yeah, it's just a pretty quick visit. We have been trying to work with multiple agencies just to set up a safe and accessible parks. These resources will help my family and I be more comfortable in getting our physical activity while building community with those around us. We are lacking a clear communication line between residents and agencies, so I did compile a little infographic for you that you can take a look.
Wonderful. So I suggest you to set up a meeting so we can sit down and have a more in-depth conversation.
Yes, I would definitely like to urge you to work with your team, so the community input is at the forefront of the conversations regarding budget allocations and park designs. Can we have a quarterly meeting with the designated person on your team?
Yeah, well, probably not a quarter meeting, but let's start with the conversation. Let's start with that 10-15 minutes to see a little more about your issue and your priorities. Please contact my team. I'm going to give you the information. So thank you for your time. But right now, again, I don't have too much time, so thank you.
No problem. Either way, thank you for your time, and I would definitely love to stay in contact with your team members.
Yes, let's go to the next one. That is yours.
Yeah. So now we do want to focus on the preparing your statement. So what is it that you want to say when you are with the elected officials? So you definitely want to greet the person and thank them for their time. They don't really have to give you the time, so always be thankful for that, because a lot of times there's going to be times where they're just going to straight up tell you like, no, we're not meeting, so definitely thank those who are able to listen to you, and then introduce yourself and connect your story to whatever your issue is going to be. Who you are as like in your community as a person. Are you part of an organization? And if so, what is that organization? And how are you impacted by the issue that you're bringing up? And why should they focus on this issue? So just create that statement around whatever issue it is that you're bringing, and just connect the story to yourself. And then, present a solution. So this is why your research is important, because you're going to go in there with already data that's going to help you kind of guide what it is, the outcome you might want for your community, or what they can do to help you, so they're not just kind of like, okay, this is important to you, but what do you want me to do? You're like, this is what I'm asking you to do. I'm giving you like a structured little solution, like I mentioned, and the infographic, that kind of makes it easier. Like, hey, you have the information here. You could use that to make decisions or go based and understand what the issue is. And then lastly, make that final ask, and that with a question. So will you support this issue? Depending on what it is that you're asking for, you might ask for vote for this or vote against it if it's something regarding like a legislation bill or anything like that. Or your ask could be like, hey, can we stay in contact? Like, can we host more meetings often? Or can I, just stay in touch with one of your team members and make sure, hold them accountable that they are listening to what we are saying here today, but also that they are willing to stay in contact and work with us. And you can also, if they give you the information, just let them know, hey, like I will email you in a day or so, or in the following week, just so they know what to expect. And a lot of things that we have done is we also like to make ourselves available for them, so if there's like a bill that's coming up that maybe you're for or against, and they might need that testimony, we're like, hey, stay in contact with me, because I can also help you, for a testimony, or share stories, or, reach out to the community so they can kind of hear you out on what the issues are. So that way you're helping them and they're also helping you.
Thank you, Pam. Now we want to give you guys a couple minutes. Let's do 3-5 minutes to prepare a statement. I want as well probably 2-3 people to share their story or share their statement with us. I also want to verify if there are any questions so far. Anyone?
Maybe give us just a couple of minutes to think.
Okay, perfect. Yes, when you mention the draft, you're mentioning this one, or you want to see the example, Jake?
I'm just looking at this for the bullet points of the things to include.
Okay, perfect. So let's give you guys 5 minutes and let's come back.
So while some people are thinking through that, and I'll give you something to think about.
Okay.
I have a question for you or Pam. I'm curious, like, if there's been a most difficult meeting you've ever been in, or maybe the funniest meeting you've ever been in, like where something quirky or something unexpected happened during your meeting.
I had a few walk-ins where I literally walked in. I'm like, hey, do you have like, 5-10 minutes of your time? And they're just like, no, straight up no. And I've also had gone with representatives that didn't see eye to eye, with the issues that I was speaking up about. But a thing I did learn in one of my internships with Young Invincibles was that if you can connect to them through like emotion, maybe because for some of them it's like it doesn't affect me, so I don't really care, is to kind of try to connect maybe through a different sector. So that's why your research is really important, because I've realized that, okay, maybe I can't connect through my story or how this is impacting, my community, but I can try to bring interest of like, how is this going to be helpful, maybe through the economy, through finances, if they are into that. Try to connect and still make a point across of how we would benefit and how they would still in a way benefit, like maybe economically if they're more focused on, the economy. So like, for example, parks, like, hey, parks are necessary for our communities to flourish. That's where a lot of people like to just go out and relax. Think about like events that you can host in those parks, that would bring in revenue for the communities or for the city or whatever the area is. So even though they might not connect emotionally or personally, they kind of understand it like, okay, well, economically that makes sense,
That's a great idea.
So that's where your research really helps you to know who it is you're going to talk to, especially if it's going to be somebody that you already know they're going to be kind of like, no, or just like, yeah, they're just going to toss your story or your ask to the next. So try to make it in a way that it's also appealing to them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I want to share something that happened to me in one particular meeting. They didn't know. We were just knocking door every single of them, and they're this particular staff member that say, well, the member is here, is available, so if you want to stay, you guys stay and talk to him. You say, whoa, wonderful, absolutely. So we have a team of 6 people, and when we went there, we'd sit down, they offer us coffee, water, and we say, well, yes, absolutely, let's have some water and some coffee. And then one of the team members told the representative, when the representative arrived, well, these are our priorities, and give the priorities to the representative. And when the representative started reading, of course, was not a friendly representative. So at that point, you can see the body language that changed immediately. And I think that he just walked away from the meeting. And one of the aides came to us and tell us, well, we don't have coffee anymore, but thank you very much for sharing your priorities. And any question that we have, we just go, to give you a call. It was very shocking. Of course, at the beginning it was very shocking. So every time that you have a visit, and this is something that we usually do at Mi Familia Vota, we provide our background, who we are as an organization, and we provide our priorities. So we are very straightforward as we are advocating for education, advocating for, X, Y, Z. And we, provide to, even if they're friendly or not, we are very straightforward with this. And this is something that when they start and when you provide and give them, your priorities, immediately they start reading. They go, probably the 90% of them start reading each of the issues that you have there or the priorities that you have there. So you can see if they are friendly or not. Of course, if you're doing this before and you are doing your homework and where, if you're meeting with X, Y person, you know how to manage or steer the conversation in a different way. But if you are knocking door by door or going office by office without any particular meeting or any particular scheduled meeting, you're going to see the reaction. And it's something that you guys can do if you have the meeting or not. but the probability is that, you know, they are going to be less receptive if they are not friendly.
Hmm. I know we've been listening to Angel and Pam, and I'm trying to soak up everything they share with us. Has anybody been working on your mini homework that Angel gave you before we started asking questions? Angel, can you refresh us on what your question was again?
Yes, absolutely. Well, what we want to do here is I want you guys to prepare your statement. So I saw based on your answers that a lot of you have a lot of experience as well, and feel comfortable talking to any particular, you know, talking to your representative. So as well, if any of you can share any story or something related to advocacy, that will be helpful. Or if you have your statement and you prepare one, any volunteer?
We're shy people tonight. This is a rare thing. Everyone not wanting to speak up. So knowing that we are getting ready for our communities and parks convening. And so we may not even be thinking about all the different agencies, elected officials, titles that we should be inviting to that meeting. And I don't know, you may, because of the advocacy work that you've been doing for so long, you may have ideas for people that we're not even thinking about reaching out to at this point. Like we think, of course, our county commissioners, particularly, you know, parks commissioners as well, our maybe the complete communities crew for our communities, Houston Parks and Rec, Harris County Parks. But are there other agencies that would have some skin in the game when it comes to outdoor spaces, parks, green spaces, that sort of thing, that we should be including in the conversation that we're not thinking about yet?
Yeah, well, there are a couple of things that I want to share. The first one is sometimes we believe that advocacy is just one day, right? And it is very important that if there are a particular issue that you're advocating for and you feel very passionate about, okay, do it one day, right? The first one, and learn from that and move on. But this is a work in progress. You know, you can just probably do one day once a month or one day, you know, this is something that you cannot do once a year. This is something that you need to do and work and work and work and work until you make it happen, right? The second thing that I want to share that is based on that is depends the issue, right? You can go to XY office, or you can go to the city council or to the, you know, or not the city, but the county or the state level. But if they tell you that you can, you know, that let's say that your representative is the person, the key goal person, not stay there. Do not stay there. Go to one representative, but probably go to another one, or go to your senator, go to, you know, advocate everywhere. Because as much as you advocate and talk to people about your particular issue, you're going to learn more information. And some people is going to refer you to another person. It's going to refer you to another representative. Another thing that we shared previously is talk to your representative, of course, because they're going to tell you, okay, well, this person vote for me, you know, I represent that person. Okay, you know, they're going to take care of you, but don't stay there. If you can visit 50, 60, 100 people, do it. All right. And again, don't stay in one particular party. Go to everyone, right? And try, we're very polarized in this day, but try to do not make it in a polarized way, right? Do it in a way that you can really share information, valuable information, and put in your mind, go with the mindset that you can really change the mind of, that you can really connect, let's put it in that way, that you can really share something valuable for that particular representative, for that particular council person, that can click in their head and they can say, oh, perfect, now that makes sense, right? Something that I really do not recommend, or I recommend to do not do, is to go over and over and over to the same person, because they don't have new things to share. Probably you can do a follow-up conversation, or have a follow-up conversation over the telephone, over the phone, or just send them an email and say, well, thank you for your time. Remember me, last week we spoke about this, or last month. Do you have any update? But don't visit. Don't spend time doing that. Try new people, right? And it's, this is something that is very tricky, because Texas Lash, sometimes they are, depends who is managing that particular committee. But if you know that there's one particular field that is assigned to that particular committee, try to meet with all the people in that committee. But something that they do is to change. And let's say that we have something that is related to water for that particular park, right? And that is related to water, but let's say that is nearby a business, and it's nearby a school. So probably they're gonna, just because of that, impact probably 3 different committees. So not stay and do not think that your bill is just related with natural resources. Can be in education if it's near a school, or can be in commerce if it's something that is impacting any business. So do your research, look around, and the same happen at the local levels. It's something that you can see. Any other questions?
I'm gonna move along to the next slide, which I think has something to do with this slide too. And then we'll open it up to just Q&A. I have tons of questions. Hopefully some of you guys have questions too. But I can at least relay questions that I've heard over the past few years in the communities, and even some burning things that I have in my own mind.
Pam, that is yours.
All right, so the next steps are, you guys were giving some time to draft your personal statement using the outline we did provide, because we will be practicing these statements. Either you guys are open to volunteering today, or just for the next training that we do have coming up in April 27th. So you do guys have a little homework, and if you don't want to share them today, you can definitely work on them, make them strong for our next training session.
So has anybody come up with something that they want to share, or should we just go straight to the main Q&A? We really expected us to be doing more like story sharing and role playing. Okay, so I'm actually going to call somebody out who has had some good suggestions and comments in the chat. and see if there are any questions or any comments, because it sounds like he's done a bit of advocacy himself. Mr. Ronald Delaney, do you have anything you'd like to share with the group or any questions you can think of? You had the great idea of us making sure that we invite the Houston Police Department to the convening, that's for sure.
Ron, you're planning an event right now, which you're having to work with so many different entities on. So you want to share your experience having to go through that right now?
I have more experience than most on here.
Well, then we all are eager to hear it.
Where do you want me to start?
Well, maybe with the current, you know, the events you've been doing with the Inwood Vogel Creek,
Okay.
Group. Maybe that's a good place to start.
Well, we're planning a bike ride coming up, and there's a few issues we're having to deal with on it. Near Northwest Management in the city of Houston is requiring event insurance of $1 million. So I've been already getting quotes on all that today and sending it to Lisa. But basically, I'll be honest, I've actually been texting our councilwoman during the Zoom call. So I'm sure there's somebody else on the call that could use some of the experience on it. So I won't take up their time.
So if I can ask you guys a question, and thank you so much, Ron. It sounds like you're very humble, aren't you?
Pretty.
He's doing a lot with this event. There's lots of hurdles over the past few events we've worked on, but we're getting through them.
So I have a question for you guys that are on the call, because I know that some of y'all have been involved in advocacy efforts. Have you run into hurdles that you're wanting to ask Kandahel or Pam about how you could have maybe overcome those hurdles, or if you're currently going through them, do they have suggestions on how you could get past some of those hurdles? One hurdle that I've run into many times in my life is the gatekeepers, the people that keep you from getting to the right people, right? So that's one hurdle that I've had to deal with. What are some hurdles that you guys have run into as you were trying to do advocacy or get to the right people to talk to?
I can say I don't take no for an answer. They're going to talk to me whether they want to or not. And some on this call actually know that firsthand. And so far, I've never had somebody tell me no.
Oh, that must be nice.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
So Jennifer, how have you handled those gatekeepers?
I'm really good at going around the gate. First of all, I'm a person, and I don't think I'm an unfriendly person, but I am a person who doesn't mind not being your best friend if it gets me to, you know, the goal that I'm trying to achieve, or, you know, you can't always be the most polite person in the world. So when I need to be, I can be very direct. If I think that somebody's not being honest with me, I can tell them I don't think they're being honest with me. So I'm that kind of person that I love to be polite, and I like to be friends. But if the person across from me isn't in that same place, then I don't mind just getting straight to business and figuring it out from there. What about the rest of y'all? How have you guys gotten around hurdles? Eileen, you are a person, I know you've had to get around hurdles, and you are also probably a person that other people want to get to ask your ideas or thoughts or ways to do things in the community or be involved in your organization. So maybe first explain who you're with, and then as a person who other people want to get to, maybe you could make a suggestion on the best way to do that.
Okay. I'm with the Near Northwest Management District. We are a unit of local government created by the state legislature. So I am government. We cover a 16 square mile area, and we are supported by the commercial property owners within our area, not by homeowners, but by commercial properties. They pay an assessment, and that supports the activities and services that we provide. In terms of finding who the real gatekeeper is and working your way through the gate, sometimes it's not all that easy to research, even in the days of the internet. Sometimes the data isn't that accurate. Sometimes it's, it's just very opaque in places. But a good thing to do is to find out who else knows who you're trying to talk to, and get that advice about, who do I need to talk to? One of the things to keep in mind is that most of the time people would like to help you. They need to understand what you really want. So you want to be fairly direct with, I'm calling to see the council member about, whatever. And, I would, be, rather than I want to talk about all parks, I want to talk about a specific park that's in my neighborhood that I go to, so it becomes a personal request rather than a big, broad one. From the person who gets those phone calls, that also helps me and others in positions like mine to understand who you really need to talk to. And Angel, you made a comment a little earlier about sometimes that staff member has a lot of influence on what gets to the elected official's desk. And they often have kind of their area of expertise or responsibility. And so if you call my office and you have a very broad, I'm calling about something and I have to ask some questions to figure out which one of the 5 of us you need to talk to, so that it's a good use of your time and ours. And I want to also follow up a little bit. You made the comment about take a picture at the end of the meeting. Ask the elected official if you can take a picture with them and post it to their social media. Tag them. That's become a new thing in the last few years, but to use that social media tag. I also would really, really strongly suggest 2 things. One is ask how you can help them, or ask what they would like more information on. That gives you an opportunity to come back to them and say, you asked about this, I did this research, I pulled this together for you. So it gives you another point of contact. It becomes more of a partnership rather than an ask, demand. The other is I really strongly also suggest send a written thank you note. It doesn't have to be long. Thanks for seeing me last Tuesday. We talked about X. I'll be in touch with your staff person Y. Just something, it does make a difference. And another hint or suggestion is have something brief on how you touched on this a little bit. I would say not more than 2 pages, have some pictures in it, especially with something like parks, you want pictures. And have that you can leave behind and be sure your contact info is on there.
So when you say send a written thank you note, do you mean like email, or do you mean like a handwritten note?
Write it, put a stamp on it, put it in the mail. Yeah. Ideally. Yeah. If you can't do that, at least an email. Because honestly, sometimes they really don't want to give you an email. You get a general email. If you handwrite that note, it's more likely to get to them.
Okay.
It takes you 2 minutes longer, but it's personal. And people give to people. I have a fundraising background. People give to people, not to causes. They give to people. Okay.
Okay, guys, I have more questions, guys, but I don't want to be the only one talking.
I was about to ask, does anyone else have a question they'd like me to answer?
I saw Miss Thomas, you turned your video on. Did you just get to a place where you could turn it on, or did you have a question? Or did I just notice that your video is on? I apologize.
Jennifer, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, in regards to soliciting help from public officials and not wanting to be associated with a particular official due to the many, positions they might take, not being in line with your organization or whatnot, but they're like the only person that you might be able to get through to get something done. How do you go about doing that without showing that you, because they like do photo ops and things like that, without, having to appear that you're on their team?
I'm assuming that was really a question for Angel and not me.
Yeah, for either one.
Angel, do you want to take that one? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Also, can you repeat the last part of your question, please?
Yes, it's simple in regards to, soliciting help from a particular, say, politician or government official and not wanting to be associated or appear that agree with maybe some of the position that the individuals hold, and sort of, be categorized with that group with you in an organization or something like that.
Okay, so what you're saying is, if that particular elected official agree with one of your issues but do not agree with the rest of your policies or suggestions?
All right, if I don't agree with their stance on particular things.
Well, if you don't agree, well, in that particular case, is stop and think about it. To be honest, and this is not a sexy response, but if you're advocating that particular office, it's because we need from them, right? And probably, we do not, even if we are in the same party, probably we do not agree with the same, we couple things, right? But if we agree something, that particular thing that you want to advocate or you are advocating for, you found that you have something in common with that particular representative, go for it. Because, just use your time, just go for it, and just use your time saying, okay, I agree with you, but you don't need to go there and say, well, I know that you vote in this particular bill for Y, A, C. I don't like that. No, you don't need to open the door to that. Remember, if you're advocating for something in particular, just go straight to that point, stay in that line, and don't open the conversation or the door to any other way. Just and let's put it in this way. This is if you are advocating, it's because you have passion for something. And if you are knocking on a door, it's because you really believe that you can change someone's mind. If you don't think that you can change, a particular representative mind, or you don't care, don't knock their door. Don't go there. Don't lose your time. But if you really believe that you can be part of the change and knock on that door and convince a representative, remember, go there with the mindset that you really can change that person's mind. Probably it's not going to happen, right? This is the hard part of this. Probably it's not going to happen, but going with your mindset, with that positive mindset, that you can, that day that you can go and establish a new relationship and establish that kind of connection that you really are looking for.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions as we kind of move into wrapping the meeting up for the evening? last questions, last bits of advice, even if they might not be questions, or even if anyone's began to kind of think about their homework piece, their homework assignment. I'll also add there's a lot of great conversation happening in the chat. I will not read through all of it as we may be able to access it, but thank you guys so much for some of the commentary being provided there. I think that Eileen's statement about people connect with people is a hit. Thank you, Eileen.
You bet. I would like to give another quick little bit of based in fundraising advice, which is organizations have no needs. The people your organizations serve have needs.
Question. For the next meeting, what we have to have ready is a statement talking about how we have advocated for ourselves, basically. Or I understood it wrong.
The statement is mainly kind of like the way we did the role play. So your statement is going to be based around that, as if you were speaking to an elected official. How would you go about introducing yourself? So covering basically all the points we discussed today.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I'm actually going to drop the prompt for our homework assignment into the chat directly, in case that's an easier way for you.
Chanel, you sent it to me privately. You might need to, there you go.
Yeah. Yep, and also as mentioned in the chat, we will be sharing the link to the recording after the meeting by email. We will also be sharing the slides so that you guys can revisit them. I believe someone also asked if there was an example informal agenda that could be shared. That will also be coming out with meeting materials afterwards. So all of that to come. With that, I don't believe there are any more questions. I'm a little hesitant because we're at 7:18. I don't mind giving you guys 11 additional minutes to go home and enjoy or to go enjoy dinner. Hopefully we're mostly home. Yeah, so with that, I just want to thank everybody. Did Jennifer?
She probably won't be able to join again. Since we've concluded the meeting, we could probably wrap up.
All right, perfect. So I just want to thank everybody for giving us your time this evening, going on this community advocacy journey with us. I definitely want to thank those of us who've attended from different experience levels and with different perspectives to provide information to those of us who are, not quite as experienced. Thank you very much. I want to also drop information or just kind of the time for that next training, which will be taking place next Thursday at the same time, back in the chat. So please come and join us.
And I also want to thank the interpreters for simultaneously putting everything in Spanish as we're saying it in the chat. That is truly amazing. So thank you to our interpreters. Lightning speed text right there. Can we please, before we break, if people are able to, I would love for them to come on camera and do a wave so I can do a screen capture. So I'm going to get that going right now. So if you can get on screen, let's do a big wave here and then we can all jump off. Like as Chanel said, we really appreciate everyone being here this evening, and the second session will build on the first, and then the third final one. And then the parks convening. So it is a series. So we hope you can participate in everything. So I'm going to count down so we can all wave at the same time, thanks to those who are already doing it. But okay, I'm gonna count down from 3. 3, 2, 1. Wave advocacy. Yay. All right, I got it. So if anyone's mouth was open, too bad. All right. That's it. Thank you so much. And thank you to Chanel for jumping in. Oh, I see Jennifer came back just in time. Jennifer, we are concluding the meeting and we're wrapping up. So we're letting everyone go. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.